Today is Wednesday, March 16th. What to know today about President Biden's plan to travel to Europe, the Ukrainian president's speech to U.S. lawmakers this morning, and the leaders of 3 countries who took a risky trip to Kyiv. Also, the sun may be setting on changing our clocks twice a year. We'll tell you about the bill the Senate just passed. Plus, why gas prices may dip back down a bit, which famous film festival is joining forces with TikTok, and which city is the top destination for college grads. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. President Biden plans to travel to Europe next week. The White House says he'll meet with European leaders at a special, just-put-together NATO summit in Brussels, Belgium on March 24th, and also go to the pre-planned European Union summit meeting the same day. Biden will meet face-to-face with his European counterparts, and of course, they'll be talking about efforts to help Ukraine and to push back against Russia. For now, at least, there are no plans for Biden to meet with Ukrainian President Zelensky. But Zelensky will talk directly to members of Congress in the U.S. this morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time in a high-profile virtual address. It's actually the second time he'll speak in front of members of Congress this month, but the first time it'll be public, available for all Americans to tune in. It's part of a series of speeches he's given to Western leaders. He spoke to the UK Parliament last week and Canada's Parliament yesterday. Zelensky's speech today could lead to U.S. lawmakers putting even more pressure on Biden to send fighter jets and other military gear to Ukraine. Some lawmakers from both parties have already called on Biden to take more aggressive action. But so far, at least, Biden has insisted that certain moves, including sending fighter jets, could lead to a direct clash with Russia and launch World War III. But White House officials have said Biden will announce another $800 million in military aid later today. Stay tuned for the details. And already, Congress passed and the president just signed a bill with $13.6 billion in new humanitarian and military aid to Ukraine. Plus, the U.S. has also taken a bunch of steps to hurt Russia's economy. In response, Russia announced its own round of new sanctions against about a dozen high-profile Americans, including President Biden and others like Secretary of State Antony Blinken and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. The measure essentially bans them from going to Russia and freezes any assets they have there. But they don't seem too worried about it. Clinton, for example, sarcastically tweeted, quote, "I want to thank the Russian Academy for this Lifetime Achievement Award." By the way, if you've seen that video clip of a Russian woman who ran onto the set of a live news broadcast on Russian state-run media holding a no war sign behind the anchor, we have an update for you. She's an employee at that channel who now says she's ashamed she told lies from the TV screen. She had also made a separate anti-war video, and she told reporters that she was interrogated about all of this for about 14 hours, then fined for the video and finally released, at least for now. But more charges could be coming. Ahead of President Zelensky's virtual address to Congress this morning, he met in person with the prime ministers of Poland, the Czech Republic, and Slovenia yesterday, and they all met in the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv. Yes, the 3 European leaders took a train to Ukraine's capital and say they did it to show their unequivocal support for the country. They were there while the attacks got even more intense in and around Kyiv. Russian forces continue to push closer and closer to the city's limits, too. So Kyiv's mayor put a 36-hour curfew in place, saying the capital faces a, quote, difficult and dangerous moment. In the outskirts of the city, a Fox News cameraman and a Ukrainian journalist working as a consultant for Fox News were killed. The war zone photographer and journalist were with the Fox News reporter that we told you about yesterday, who was hospitalized. The CEO of Fox News put out a statement calling it a heartbreaking day for the organization and praised each of their talents as journalists. But there is a small bright spot to report. Finally, an estimated 20,000 civilians were able to leave the devastated city of Mariupol. It was the biggest evacuation yet from the southern city of more than 400,000 people. Although there are now new reports from Ukrainians that Russian forces have taken hostages at a hospital there, and many others are still trapped without essential supplies. Still, Ukraine is saying that progress in the peace talks with Russia is still possible. The negotiations are expected to continue today. Stay tuned. The Federal Reserve is set to wrap up its policy meeting today and raise interest rates. The expected quarter-point increase would be the first rate hike since 2018. And then the central bank may signal even more increases are coming later this year to help curb high inflation by making it more expensive to borrow money. In other words, this move would mean Americans will soon see higher rates on everything from credit cards to mortgages. Well, speaking of the Federal Reserve, we do have a quick update about President Biden's nominee to essentially be the Fed's top banking regulator. Well, she's out. Sarah Bloom Raskin withdrew her nomination. Remember, a key Democrat joined all Senate Republicans in saying this week they will not vote to confirm Raskin in that role. So now the Biden administration must nominate a new banking cop, which is considered one of the more critical jobs on the Fed board. A fourth dose of a COVID-19 vaccine could be coming. Pfizer has now formally asked the FDA to greenlight another booster shot for Americans 65 and older. Pfizer CEO said the booster already available is still good enough to prevent hospitalizations and deaths from COVID-19, but that it's not as good against infections overall, and the protection may start to wane over time. But not even all public health experts at this point agree about whether booster shots are needed and for whom. Either way, the FDA would still need to approve the request to be continued. All right, we have much more news still coming up, but first, a quick break to thank our sponsor. We all know Oprah Winfrey is a role model, icon, and billionaire media mogul. But our sponsor Masterworks points out she's also an art investor. In 2006, Oprah reportedly purchased a painting by Gustav Klimt at Christie's for an astounding $88 million. Then she resold it for $150 million in 2016. That's a staggering $62 million in profit. She's not necessarily doing it because she's rich. From what I can tell with everything she does, she's a business genius. So why doesn't everyone get involved in the blue chip art market? Of course, most don't have millions to buy paintings outright, like Oprah. But thanks to the company Masterworks, the high-cost barrier has come crumbling down. Now you can invest in masterpieces by Picasso, Warhol, and Banksy without building a media empire first. And yes, they're giving the Newsworthy listeners access. So what are you waiting for? Head to masterworks.art/newsworthy to learn more. That's masterworks.art/newsworthy. See important Regulation A disclosures at masterworks.io/CD. Well, changing the clocks like we did just last weekend could become a thing of the past. The Senate easily passed a bill that would make daylight saving time permanent starting next year. It's called the Sunshine Protection Act, and if it actually becomes a law, each state would have to choose, stick with standard time or change to daylight saving time year-round, but no switching back and forth. Backers of an all-year-long daylight saving time highlight brighter evenings in the winter and say without it, those darker winter days can affect both mental and physical health. But critics point to darker mornings. For example, in the past, some parents have worried about sending their kids off to school in the dark. Either way, the bill now heads to the House. If it gets enough support there to pass, it would then go to the president's desk for his signature. So why did daylight saving time start in the first place? Here's a hint, it has nothing to do with farming. We're talking about the history of the time changes on this weekend's special edition Saturday episode, so be sure to tune in. Those high prices at the gas pump you've been paying might start to fall again. Oil prices slid below $100 a barrel for the first time this month. In fact, just over a week ago, crude oil jumped above $139 a barrel, meaning it's fallen 30% in about a week's time, reversing a big chunk of the recent spike since Russia invaded Ukraine. So what's happening here? A few things. For one, experts say oil's price drop is driven by hopes that maybe other countries like Saudi Arabia and the UAE would boost oil production to help make up for the ban on Russian oil. Also, the new COVID-19 restrictions in China likely mean demand for oil there will drop. But one analyst told CNN it's too soon to celebrate or rule out another big spike. For now, though, another analyst thinks if oil prices do stay where they're at now, the national average price for gas could dip by about 20 cents a gallon, which is still above $4, but below record highs. Nearly 3 decades after her death, Selena fans are getting new music from the so-called Queen of Tejano music. The late pop star's father said a new album with unreleased digitally modified songs is coming out next month. In an interview, he said fans can expect 13 songs pulled from her catalog, but with new arrangements. So basically, it's old music with a new twist. You'll remember Selena was tragically shot and killed when she was 23. But 27 years later now, her legacy is still going strong. Spotify says some of her hits like Bitty Bitty Bum Bum were streamed more than 450 million times across nearly 200 countries last year. And the 2021 Grammys honored Selena's work with a Lifetime Achievement Award. One of the most famous film festivals in the world is about to be TikTokified. The popular short video app with 1 billion users worldwide now is becoming an official partner of the Cannes Film Festival. The new partnership is meant to bring TikTokers a first-hand look inside the iconic event. Think exclusive content from backstage, red carpet glamour, and interviews with stars. Though selfies on the red carpet are still banned at the event. Also, ahead of the event in May, TikTok also launched a global competition called #TikTok Short Film, where creators can share their own short films on the app that are between 30 seconds and 3 minutes long. And now, the 3 winners will not only get a cash prize, they'll also get a trip to the festival in France. TikTok says you can submit your short film up until April 8th, and winners will be revealed after that. The festival kicks off May 17th. And that's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Work Wednesday, when we break down one interesting career or work-related news story every Wednesday. But first, a message from our sponsor, Indeed. Well, you already know to come right here to this podcast for the day's news, but do you have a trusted source for your day-to-day hiring needs? It should be Indeed, because Indeed is the hiring partner where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. And I know what it's like to have so much going on in a business and just in life that there's no time to waste. So instead of spending hours on multiple job sites hoping to find candidates with the right skills, you need one powerful hiring partner that can help you do it all. Indeed makes it easy to hire great talent. According to ComScore, Indeed is the #1 job site worldwide. So join more than 3 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Start hiring right now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/newsworthy. Offer valid through March 31st. Go to Indeed.com/newsworthy to claim your $75 credit before March 31st. Indeed.com/newsworthy. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Okay, now back to Work Wednesday. So once college students graduate, where are they hoping to move for their first job? Well, a new Axios survey found the most desired place for college grads to work and live is Seattle. With its tech hub status, cool climate, green energy, and music and art scene, Seattle beat out 2 more expensive cities at the top of the list, New York and LA. Denver and Boston rounded out the top 5 wish list. And as far as what they want to do when they get there, the survey found healthcare was the top industry choice for careers, followed by careers in education and tech. And political party had something to do with it too. The survey found Austin, Texas was a top choice for young Republicans who want to leave their home state, while New York City topped the list for young Democrats. But the survey also shows desires don't always line up with reality. 45% of people surveyed said they think they'll end up somewhere different from where they actually want to be. All right, thank you so much for joining us today as part of your daily routine and for sharing the show. We'll catch you up on more news to know tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.